Welcome back. Today's episode is all about ProRevenge. Not loud, not messy, not illegal, just smart, patient, and incredibly satisfying. These are the kinds of stories where no one raises their voice, no one breaks the rules, and somehow the message still lands perfectly. So get comfortable, take a breath, and let's get into the first one.
I had a coworker who loved taking credit for my work. At first, it was subtle. In meetings, he'd say things like, "When I built this," or "My approach was," even though we had clearly worked on it together. I corrected him once, then twice. He laughed it off and kept doing it. So I stopped correcting him. Instead, I started documenting everything. Every draft had my name. Every update went out from my email. Every decision lived in shared files with a version history turned on. I didn't accuse him. I didn't warn him. I just let the record speak for itself. When leadership announced they wanted a presentation on the project, he immediately volunteered. He said he'd handle it. I agreed and didn't attend. That was his mistake. During the presentation, leadership started asking detailed questions. Not surface-level stuff, real questions about why choices were made and what alternatives were rejected. He stumbled, then guessed, then stalled. Finally, my manager pulled up the shared documents. The room went quiet. Every major edit, every key decision, every comment thread pointed to me. His name barely appeared at all. The meeting ended early. After that, something interesting happened. He stopped talking in meetings. He stopped volunteering for credit. A few weeks later, he was quietly removed from the project entirely. I was promoted to lead. I never confronted him. I never exposed him publicly. I just let him stand alone with a story he couldn't actually tell, and somehow that was louder than anything I could have said.
Sometimes revenge isn't about proving someone wrong, it's about letting them prove themselves unprepared. Now, let's talk about a neighbour who thought rules were optional. My neighbour kept blocking my driveway. At first, I tried to be understanding. We live on a narrow street, parking is tight, and I didn't want to be that neighbour. The first time it happened, I knocked on his door and politely asked if he could move his car. He smiled, said, "Oh yeah, sorry, it'll just be a minute," and moved it. Then it happened again and again. Sometimes it was 10 minutes, sometimes an hour. Once it was long enough that I was late to work. Every time I asked, I got the same response. Casual, dismissive, like I was overreacting. "It's just temporary," he'd say. "You'll be fine." What made it worse was that he had other places to park. He just didn't want to walk the extra few steps. After the third time I was blocked in, I stopped confronting him. No notes, no arguments, no passive-aggressive comments. Instead, I looked up the local parking laws. Turns out blocking a driveway is a clear violation, no matter how short the time is. So I started documenting. Every time his car blocked my driveway, I took a photo with the license plate visible. I noted the time. I saved everything in a folder on my phone. I didn't say a word to him. I just waited. The next time I was blocked in and needed to leave, I called parking enforcement. They came. They ticketed him. I watched from my window as he stormed outside, furious and confused, looking around for who could have reported him. I didn't wave. You'd think that would be the end of it. It wasn't. He did it again a few days later. So I called again. Another ticket. Then again. Another ticket. By the fourth time, parking enforcement didn't even knock. They just wrote the ticket and left. On the fifth time, they left a warning about towing. Only then did he knock on my door. He asked if I had called parking enforcement. I calmly said yes. I explained I had asked him multiple times to stop, and since that didn't work, I decided to follow the rules instead. He told me I was being dramatic. I told him I was being lawful. Since then, he hasn't blocked my driveway once. He parks half a block away now. We don't talk, we don't wave. And honestly, I've never had an easier commute. Sometimes revenge isn't about getting even. Sometimes it's just about letting the rules do the talking. Not all revenge involves contracts or laws. Sometimes it's about numbers. I had a friend who was always forgetting to pay me back. It started small. Coffee here, movie tickets there, gas money on road trips. Every time, she'd smile and say, "I'll get you next time." And because it wasn't a huge amount, I let it go. I told myself it wasn't worth making things awkward over a few dollars. But over time, those few dollars added up. I started noticing a pattern. Somehow, I was always the one paying up front. Somehow, I was always the one waiting to be reimbursed. And somehow, the reimbursement never came unless I reminded her. And even then, it came with an eye roll or a joke about me being too organized. So I stopped reminding her. Instead, I started tracking everything: dates, amounts, what it was for. I saved receipts, screenshots, Venmo requests she never accepted. I didn't say anything. I just let the list grow. Then one night, we went out to dinner with friends. When the bill came, she slid it toward me like always and said, "You can get this, right? I'll pay you back." I smiled and said, "Actually, I think we should settle up first." She laughed, thinking I was joking. I pulled out my phone and opened a spreadsheet. Her smile faded. I calmly scrolled through months of expenses: coffee, meals, rides, tickets, all neatly logged. I told her the total. It wasn't outrageous, but it wasn't small either. She got quiet. Our friends got quiet. She paid me back right there. After that, something interesting happened. She never forgot her wallet again. And somehow she stopped suggesting I pay up front. We're still friends, but we don't split bills anymore. Turns out some people don't forget. They just don't expect you to remember. And that's the thing about ProRevenge. It's not loud. It's not aggressive. It's just consequences, delivered calmly. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know, because there are plenty more stories like these. Thanks for listening.